Serious, were you ever close to being killed/raped/kidnapped/robbed? If so, how did you avoid it/get away? When I was a young boy, probably 12 or 13, my dad and I took a spontaneous vacation to Duluth, MN. Since I'd never been there. I'd honestly never been on vacation before, so I was so excited to experience being somewhere awesome just for the fun of it. We had decided before leaving that would save money by skipping the hotel and sleeping in the truck in a rest lot. He'd sleep on an air mattress in the back of the truck, with a topper, and I would sleep in the cab. We found a rest stop in town and went to sleep. At one point in the middle of the night I had to use the restroom, so I left the cab and used the men's room at the rest stop. There was one other guy in there using a urinal. The best word I can use to describe him was soggy. He looked like a mess. I'm pee shy, so I just stood at a different urinal for a few seconds and promptly left. He was blatantly watching me the whole time. I get about halfway to the truck when I see he's following me. I begin to run and so does he. I manage to barely get into the truck on time to lock the door behind me, where he's now pulling on the handle, breathing heavily. I begin to yell, "Dad, Dad, wake up, and he pops up from the back like a meerkat. The guy locks eyes with my dad and quickly makes a 180 into a minivan and they speed off. I've honestly never given it all that much thought since it happened, probably just tried to repress it or something. Having typed it out, I'm kind of shaking a little. TL, Doctor, 13-year-old me most got kidnapped at a rest stop in the middle of the night. Me and my friend were fishing in a spot near our neighborhood. A man surprised us and said he was a nature photographer. He asked to take pictures of us for $5. We said yes. That was 2 slices, 2 Cokes and several games of Galaxy at the pizza place near us. He wanted to take pictures of our feet. Huh? Okay. Then he offered us $20 to be naked. This was just around the time the Adam Walsh movie was making people more aware of nutcases. Even kids were getting a little smarter. I politely said no because I was still raised to be a polite, respectful Catholic boy. My friend was trying to get me to do it, but our neighbor was coming down the trail and the guy took off. We told our folks and didn't get to fish by ourselves for a while. If you see my bare feet on the dark web, see if you can get the photographer's name. My 90-year-old dad wants to talk to him still. When I was in my 20s, I got home from a business trip in the middle of the day and was driving back to my office from the airport, which involved being on the interstate for 50 miles or so. This was in the 80s, and cell phones weren't a thing yet. An old car with 2 men inside starts following me, then they pull up beside me. The man in the passenger seat tells me that one of my back wheels is about to come off the car. Okay, well, my car was fairly new and was running fine as far as I could tell. No handling problems, nothing. I remembered that an upcoming exit had a full-service gas station with an attached mechanic's shop, so I exited there, and the men in the other car followed me. I rolled up to the entrance to the mechanic's shop, where I was sure there would be people around, and opened my window. Out walked this absolute mountain of a mechanic. I mean, he was over 6 feet tall, and a good 275 pounds. I told him that the men in the car who followed me said my back wheel was about to come off, but I didn't think there was a problem. Anyway, giant mechanic man started ambling over to the car that had followed me, and they very quickly hauled ass out of there and got back on the interstate. I wish I could have got their number plates. I didn't even think about how sketchy the whole situation was until it was over. I forget who, but there was a serial killer around that time who would try to use that trick and get women to pull over in order for him to help them. I think he then actually tamper with their tires to get them to crash or something. Glad you made it safely. When I was 9 or so, I went to the bathroom in a restaurant that was in a mall, peed at the urinal, and a big mentally disabled guy was standing behind me. When I turned around, he frightened me and said he wanted to show me something, and grabbed my wrists and tried to pull me into the stall. I pulled my arms but he would not let go. When I was 9, I thought he either wanted to show me a giant shit or hurt me in the stall. Just as he was pulling me across the stall threshold, he let go of one wrist to close the stall door. I kicked him pretty hard in the leg and pulled my other arm away and got free. Ran out to my family that was eating in the restaurant and sat down. I didn't say anything, but they all knew something happened because I was white in shock, and just then the guy was sped walking out of the bathroom, leaving the restaurant. My mom said, "What happened?" I just said that guy tried to pull me into the stall, and my 70-year-old grandmother jumped up and chased him before I finished talking. They made it to the mall, and just by chance there was an undercover mall security guy sitting outside the restaurant and tackled the guy cause my grandmother was yelling to get that guy. You can't end the story there, this isn't complete. What happened after he got caught? We went to the security office in the mall. I was in one room, the guy was in the other room next door. When the police showed up, the guy went ham. We could hear him smashing and punch the wall in the next room. I think he fought the police when they go in the room. I told the police officers what happened. The restaurant gave us our meal at no charge and a gift certificate for $150 I think for a being brave kid in the mall. Security gave me a couple vending machine toys from the $1 vendor thing. We went home. Not sure what happened to the guy after that. I was 9, my mom handled it I guess. I was 14 when this happened. I was visiting my mother for the summer. She lives in a very small apartment and at the time there was a lot of druggies there. There was one guy who came up to me asking to borrow a charger since I had the same kind of phone. My mom gave him the charger because she could just get me another. I had seen him a few times after this but didn't think much of it until one day I was sitting outside and he pulled up in his car. He said to me, "Hey, wanna come to Tim Hortons with me?" I was scared of course, so I told him that my mother wouldn't let me. He talked a bit after that and then drove off. A few days later my brother and my mom got home from somewhere. Me and my brother stayed outside and talked. I kept hearing whistling and someone yelling hey, so I looked over and the guy was there. My brother and me went over there and he started saying how nice my hair was. I had dyed it earlier that day to pink, blue and purple. He asked what we was planning to do when we were older and I said artist while my brother said engineer. He said it was cool and we talked. He kept repeating himself and I just zoned out. After a bit I looked down and the man had his dick in his hand. I backed up and hid behind my brother and the man just told me don't be afraid and then he ran away, got in his car and drove off. I never did see that guy aging, but I firmly believe that if my brother wasn't with me he would have taken me and done horrible things to me. I'm thankful he was there. Yikes, what a pathetic perv. Did you guys tell your mom and have him reported? No, sadly, I did tell my mom but she just had me lay down with her since I didn't get his license plate. We couldn't do much. I do carry a knife now just in case I see him again or anyone tries anything. I've been robbed once, mostly because I got lost and walked into the wrong part of New York on my own, not knowing that I should steer clear of that area. Was threatened by 2 people with knives, handed over something like $200 I had on me. They didn't believe that I didn't have anything else. I had a cell phone and a watch, but both were of the $10 Walmart variety and they didn't want those, so they rifled through my pockets and took my passport, tore my t-shirt in the process, pushed me into a wall and then scrammed. Luckily I didn't have anything worse than a few scrapes and bruises. I made a report to the police, got told I was an idiot, and then went to the German embassy, where I was also told I was an idiot but at least got a new passport.
Well, I made a throwaway for this, so here goes. I'm a guy and I nearly got killed by another dude when I was 19. This is how it all went down. I was at a bar and 3 shots in when I met him for the first time. Dude seemed nice enough, I was horny, so we danced and talked for a bit. He passed me a bottle that he drank from, so I thought it was safe to drink some of whatever was inside. I think it tasted like iced tea? I'm pretty sure it was some kind of drug, because in no time at all, I was drunk as a skunk. At the time, I thought I had gotten my money's worth. The guy took this opportunity to essentially drag me out of the bar. I was so disoriented, I don't even remember how I got my coat on. My friends saw the guy and talked to him for a moment before I was whisked outside. I guess they didn't clue into how fucked up I was. The guy did not know where he was going, he clearly didn't come from my city, so he called a taxi. I don't remember the ride, but I do remember getting out of the taxi with him. The guy dragged me to different places, looking for a place where we could smash. I remember thinking, why isn't he as fucked up as I am? After about an hour of searching in the snow, he found a dark area behind a dumpster. It started off with making out, but then he pushed me against a wall and pretty much went for it without any lube or condom. As you can imagine, I don't really remember all of it, but I do remember the pain and saying stop over and over.
When he was done, he turned me around and looked into my eyes. His face was blank. It looked like he was weighing whether he could just kill me and get away with it, or let me go. But my friends had seen his face. If they hadn't, I might not be alive today. Even in my drug-addled state, I knew that I had to get the fuck out. I have no background in self-defense, but my hand just moved. I broke his nose with an upwards palm strike, which must have stunned him. I ran out of the alley and ran all the way home. I had bruises on my back and neck, and I bled from my ass the night of. I just sat there in the bathroom and cried for about an hour. I didn't report the rape or go to the police. It was just too much. I thought that I had HIV, so I spent months wondering before I could get it tested. I should have got PEP, but I didn't. Stupid in hindsight, but I was a Rick after that. Luckily I don't have any STDs from it. It's been a year now. I haven't had sex since, and forming relationships with people has been hard. Now I'm in therapy and working past the PTSD.